Hi, I'm Eileen Doherty, Director of the Colorado Gerontological Society. And today we're going to talk about another program in our Aging in Place series. We are going to talk today on home modifications and how to prepare your home for the later years. Specifically, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how to live in your own home independently, how to make your home safe and more livable, and how to use technology to stay in your own home. So our goals basically are that older Americans or older adults want to stay in their own home. What we know is that at least 76% of Americans age 50 and over want to stay in their own home. However, what we also know is that we have a significant problem in that only 10% of the 115 million housing units in the United States are well suited to accommodate all of these older adults. So that brings us to a couple of issues for our discussion today. So the very first thing we want to look at is independence. And independence really happens when you, as an older adult, are self-sufficient in terms of being able to manage your own activities of daily living, either independently or with support. Similarly, with instrumental activities of daily living and managing around your house and your external environment. Activities of daily living include such things as bathing, walking, dressing, toileting, personal hygiene, and eating. The instrumental activities are basically the things that allow you to live in your own home. So this is things like housekeeping, laundry, washing the dishes, making the bed, getting your meds, getting your groceries, being able to cook, etc. And then managing your home or your house, this is the domicile in which you live. And this is basically maintaining that home, whether it's taking care of minor home repairs, yard work, snow removal, leaf pickup, whatever those kinds of things are that allow you to maintain your own home. So in terms of activities of daily living and the instrumental activities of daily living, really kind of how we approach this is we look at three different things. One, we look at doing some type of an assessment to really determine how much care you can provide for yourself. This can be done by a professional, or many times what we find is that family members will, or you yourself, will make adaptations as you find that you need certain kinds of things to continue to be able to maintain your activities of daily living, such as you may find yourself using some type of a walker that has a basket on it so that you're able to carry your laundry. The second thing that happens is we need to determine what types of supports and services are needed. And again, those are whether they happen with you yourself, whether they happen with family members, or whether they happen with outside resources. And then the last thing is what kind of services come into your home. Again, this could be through the informal system with family and friends, or it could be formal services through agencies in the community. By way of resources, it should be noted that $4 billion worth of care is done by unpaid family members in Colorado every year. A second way that people get services in their home is through what's called a non-skilled home care agency, or sometimes referred to as a Class B agency. The cost of these agencies is generally $25 an hour or more. In metro areas can be a little bit less in some of the more rural and less urban areas. These agencies are licensed by the Colorado Department of Public Health, and they usually have a list of various services that they provide. This can include things like assistance with personal needs such as bathing, cooking, helping you to eat, etc. Can also include things around your home, such as laundry, cleaning the kitchen floor, cleaning the bathroom, etc. The third way that services can be provided is those that are funded through Medicaid. The non-skilled home care agencies are paid for privately, either by you or your family members. In Medicaid, if you qualify, you can qualify for 3 different types of services. You could qualify for home and community-based services, in which Medicaid basically contracts with non-skilled home care agencies for a battery of services. Again, this could be help with cleaning, cooking, medication reminders, doing the laundry, doing shopping, etc. A second type of service that can be contracted through Medicaid is what's called in-home support services, or sometimes called IHSS. These are services where a family member or a friend is employed by a home health care agency or a home care agency to specifically work with you. That agency then puts that individual on their payroll. They are assigned to you. Your worker, your family caregiver, whoever, then provides services only to you. They file time cards with the agency, they go to agency trainings, and they're supervised by the agency. The other type of home care that Medicaid funds is something called Community Directed Attendant Support Services, or CDAS. In this type of arrangement, Medicaid pays you directly as the client to contract specifically with family member or a friend to, again, provide care for you. In the CDAS model, there is no agency involved. The contract is simply between yourself as the older adult or your power of attorney and the worker, who could be a friend or other family member. There's additional information on some of the sections or YouTube videos on our website that describe some of this in more detail. What we're going to focus on mostly today is home modifications. And we are going to draw a significant amount of our information from the AARP Home Fit Guide. So we're going to look at each room in your home individually so that we can get the big picture in terms of what are the kinds of things that we need to do. So our biggest concern is safety, and that is going to be an even bigger concern in the bathroom. So we want to look at things like having enough handrails, grab rails, and possibly even built-in showers. At a minimum, those are really constitute what's important in a bathroom. Other things that we want to look at is basically how high off the toilet or how high off the floor is your toilet from the floor to the ceiling. It's recommended that it be 17 to 19 inches. And the reason for this, again, is that when you sit down on the toilet, you don't flop or fall down, but that you're actually able to sit down comfortably. Similarly, if the grab bars are installed correctly, that you would then be able to manage getting up from the toilet as a hard surface without having to rock or fall forward. You may want to consider a bidet. This is basically an adaptation to help you spray water on your bottom to be able to clean yourself. This, again, is a safety precaution that you might want to use just in terms of, again, if you are not agile to take care of your own personal needs. Grab bars by the toilet are absolutely critical because these are what help you to brace and leverage yourself to avoid any type of fall or any type of imbalance that you might experience. Another couple of things that are really ideal, especially if you are having issues living alone, is in your bathroom having some type of shelving in which you can keep minimal supplies. So if someone is coming into your home to help you and you have a couple of rolls of toilet paper, maybe some clean towels and clean washcloths that are easily accessible, then you can get to those either by opening the door and laying them out, or if they are on a table or whatever, that you can just grab them again, helping yourself to stay stable while you are grabbing for those items. Other things that make a lot of sense is to have some type of motion sensor lighting. This allows you, again, to be able to keep two hands on your walker or to be able to steady yourself on other furniture as you enter the bathroom and you're not fumbling around looking for a light switch. A pretty standard height on your vanity and sink is 36 inches. This is pretty much somewhere around waist high for most people. And while you're looking at your sink, one of the things to do is to review and look at what type of handlebars do you have, both on your sink, your shower, and or your tub. You will want to install a faucet mechanism that has levers that can be easily pulled forward or pulled down, rather than to have knobs in which you have to turn them. And turning knobs is especially difficult for arthritic hands. Another thing that's important in your bathroom is to have a full-length mirror. The reason for this is that then you can check each time you leave the bathroom that your clothing is where it is supposed to be, and that you, again, are not feeling around trying to lose your balance, etc. Other things that are important as you look at your bathroom is what type of a shower head do you have? Do you have an adjustable one in which you can adjust both the stream of the water as well as the height of the shower head, so that it can cover your body comfortably, especially if you are sitting on a bath chair? Now let's take a look at what you have on the floor. Again, what types of rugs or mats do you have on the floor? You will definitely want rubber backed ones to keep them from skidding and or moving around. Similarly, in your bathtub, you will want non-skid mats and or non-slip strips, so that again, you can reduce the risk of falling. In your bathtub, you also might want a shower seat, and there are various kinds of shower seats. There are some on the market at this point in time where you can actually sit on the seat outside the tub, so you can transfer from your walker or your wheelchair, or just even if you're standing next to your bathtub, and then transfer yourself and your legs and your feet in while sitting down rather than while standing up. Other things that are a little bit more expensive, but very important to consider. So one of the things you may want to consider is looking at a walk-in bath or shower. There are some retrofits on a walk-in bathtub, basically where you take a section out, you then can walk into the bathtub, and then at the point in time when you no longer need that, or you put the house up for sale, that piece can be reinstalled rather than totally taking out the bathtub. Another very important thing is to look at installing an anti-scald device, both on all of your sinks as well as on your bathtub. Reason for this being that many older adults also lose their sensitivity to heat and to cold. And so sometimes we will see burns that are caused as a result of the older adult not recognizing that the heat on or the water temperature is above 120 degrees or whatever, and is setting up a scalding situation. Another thing that may cost some additional money is looking at widening the doors. Again, right now, if you are able to walk in and out of your bathroom, you probably don't have any issues. But should you need a walker or should you need a wheelchair, again, having a wider door would allow you to have access to your bathroom if the door is wide enough. Another suggestion is to look at how your sink or your vanity are mounted at this time to the wall. So if the sink and the vanity are mounted into the studs, that is a good thing. If they are not, you may want to have that done. Again, the vanity is often used as an item that you grab when you are unsteady or when you are losing your balance. And if that's the case and it's not well attached to the wall, you may find that you will pull that vanity down on you or pull it forward, and then that will also cause you to lose your balance. You may also want to purchase various kinds of bath seats, risers, stools, or bathtub benches. These, again, are an important item for making you safe to be able to take your own bath. Now let's move our mental view to our bedroom. So at a minimum, we want to have as good lighting in the bedroom as possible. And that lighting should be either on a remote switch or wall mounted. It could be wall mounted to the switch or to the wall. But again, you may actually want to look at having that some type of a switch hardwired to your bed. Or laying next to your bed with a switch so that you can turn the light on and off when you crawl into bed, rather than having to turn the light off at the door and then trying to go to the bed in the darkness. Other ways to handle that is to have either wall-mounted lamps, bedside lamps, or wall-mounted sconces that may be attached to the wall. Again, having these remote or on motion detectors or motion sensors will allow you the freedom to have them come on and off with less need for you to get in and out of bed. We suggest that you consider designating a spot in your bedroom for your electronics. That could be on a nighttime stand, it could be on a dresser, whatever, but that those electronics are always in the same place so that if you need them in the middle of the night, you are not hunting for them, but you know where they are and they are easily accessible. And going hand in hand with that, we suggest that you have a telephone by your bed, whether that telephone be a landline or a cell phone doesn't really matter, but that it be easily accessible within an arm's reach so that if you do in fact need assistance or support, that you are quickly able to access it and are not trying to get out of bed, or if you have fallen, to be able to get yourself back up to use it. Similarly, you may want a digital clock with large numbers next to your bed, again on your bedside table, so that you can see them easily without, again, having to fumble or look for glasses or other reading devices. Digital clocks, because they are electric, can go out sometimes if the electricity fails. So we suggest that you also have a working flashlight that is tested periodically to make sure that the batteries work, so that if in fact the electricity goes off, you are able to use the digital or the flashlight to maneuver around your room. Other things to look at in terms of your room is also consider having night lights that are either on a motion sensor, again, or are remote from your smartphone. And lastly, we are going to keep talking about this over and over and over, is any area rugs should be either taped down or stapled down and any throw rugs should be eliminated totally 100% from your room. And lastly, we would suggest that you put a carbon monoxide detector in your bedroom so that if for some reason or other the carbon monoxide levels increase, that you are alerted to that not only by a light, but that you will also then hear the sound of the detector to warn you that there is danger. Other things that you probably want to consider is how to reduce some of the clutter in your bathroom, in your bedroom. This clutter basically, especially if you reduce it on surfaces, whether it's on dressers, nightside tables, buffets, whatever it is that you might have in your room, this will allow you to use those surfaces for maneuvering around your room. If in fact you're not using your walker, you lose your balance, you're afraid to fall, you need to grab something to pull yourself up, any of those kinds of things. And if there's any stuff in your way, it just makes it easier for you to be able to grab those surfaces. Now let's take a look at your kitchen. So again, kitchens oftentimes have throw rugs or floor rugs in them. These again need to go away, go all the way down to whatever tile or carpet that you have on the floor. Other things that you will want to look at is what kind of cabinets and countertops are in your kitchen. So where do your cabinets, what are your cabinets like, and where are your dishes that you need most frequently stored? So for example, basically from your eyes to your waist, that is where your dishes that you use most frequently, your pots and pans, and your small appliances should be stored, if they're stored in cupboards. Otherwise, you may also want to consider just storing them on the countertop. Again, the less frequency with which you have to bend to, that sometimes results in dizziness, or if you get down on your knees and you are not able to get up as you're searching for pots and pans or other cooking utensils, this can in fact cause, again, more falls or people losing their balance. And then having other consequences as well. In addition to sort of looking at your countertops, the other thing that you'll want to look at is your refrigerator. We suggest consider buying a refrigerator that opens in the middle, because this gives you additional space, if you will, for the items that will go, again, pretty much between your eyes and your waist. This avoids, again, bending. It avoids getting down on your knees, and they're easily retrievable with one hand, especially if your refrigerator is sitting next to a countertop where you can take it out and set the food on that countertop. The similar type of thing is important in terms of ovens and other type of ranges and those kinds of things. Is basically having your oven such that you can reach into it without having to bend down so far. So if you have a double oven, it'll make it easier to be able to put things in and out of the oven. Your microwave should be sitting on the counter rather than to be wall mounted, unless it is wall mounted, again, between your eyes and your waist. Another thing to look at in terms of where you have your food and your dishes and pots and pans stored is, do you have the ability to put in any type of turntables? We used to call those lazy Susans. What this allows you to do is basically to turn the shelf, and that shelf then can keep you from having to dig all the way into the cupboard. And as you turn the shelf, then the items that you are looking for can be easily retrieved. The last thing we want to look at in terms of your cabinets is what type of handles do your drawers have. So either a D shape or a U shape in terms of having handles that you could actually put your hand in and pull out is easier again on arthritis. People who suffer from arthritis or arthritic hands, rather than having to pull down or having knobs and or other types of handles that may have various kinds of decorations on them. So a very simple handle that can easily have your hand put around it, pull and pull out. Your you also want to look at what type of levers or knobs that you have on your faucet. If the knobs, again, are round and you have to put an arthritic hand around it, it's much more difficult to turn the water on and off than it is if you have a lever. Looking at your trash and other types of recyclables or receptacles is, do they have lids on them? Where are they stored? Can you get to them with ease of just drop something in, or is it more difficult to be able to access the trash? Lighting in your kitchen is also important under your cabinets. So do you have either recessed light that you can point at certain kinds of things in your kitchen, or lights literally underneath your cabinets that you can use to shine light on whatever it is that you are cooking? If you have to have any type of a step stool, please consider getting one with grip handles and non-slip surfaces. An alternative to that is basically using some type of a reacher that is a little bit safer. Other things that you may want to consider is getting a stove with an electric stove with a cooktop as opposed to a gas stove. Gas stoves have open flames, which again are easier for things to catch on fire, such as your sleeves. If you don't get your arms high enough, you could start yourself on fire. Electric is a little less flammable. While you're doing that, the other thing you may want to look at is where the knobs to turn the stove on are. So again, if you can get those knobs on the front, as opposed to getting the knobs on the back, you do not have to reach over the top of the stove to be able to turn them on and off. An electric stove also has cooktop that is usually color coded. So if you see a red light, for example, you know that the cooktop is still warm. Whereas if you had a gas stove with an open flame and it was turned down, you might not notice that. You also can retrofit stoves that can automatically turn off your stove, whether it's electric. I believe it only works on electric, but you can basically retrofit it so that if the stove is not used for a period of time, then you can also it will automatically turn that off. You also may want to upgrade your appliances, your small appliances, such as your coffee pot or your toasters, your electric toasters or whatever. For example, my coffee pot, if no one touches it after 2 hours, it will automatically turn off. So those are some of the safety features, if you want, or if you will, that you can install to basically continue to cook in a safe manner. This allows someone who comes into your home to do a safety check of these kinds of things to basically know that while an accident could happen, you have taken a lot of precautions that will in fact keep you safe. Similarly to your bedroom, you may want to consider decluttering or reducing the clutter in not only your kitchen and your bedroom, but every room throughout your house. Reducing the clutter basically allows you to have more clean surfaces that can be used for storing the things that you need in an easily accessible way. It also allows you to be able to use those surfaces specifically for balance and or for leverage if you should fall. Let's turn our attention now to the living room or the entertainment area, or both. Again, lighting becomes really, really important in these rooms. So your light switches should be 36 to 44 inches from the floor, such that you could reach them if you are either on a wheelchair or that you can easily reach them with your hand. Your electrical outlets, you may want to review to see how high up from the floor they are. The higher, the better. The suggestion is 18 to 24 inches. My suggestion is that you go to 24 inches. And if you are having any electrical work done, that you also consider putting in additional outlets, especially those with 4 ports, rather than the 2 ports that most of us are interested in. What this allows you to do is, say, for example, you have a computer, you have a tablet, you have a cell phone, and maybe some other item that you have to charge every day. You can put them all in one place and you know where they are, so that basically you can train your brain to always look in that location for those items, and you don't have them scattered throughout. Other things to consider, especially for things like lights and also for your television or whatever, is to have some type of sensors or timers that you can be easily turn off and on. This could be sound activated. It could be activated with a remote on your TV or whatever, or it could be activated through your cell phone. Oftentimes the remotes actually for the TV causes difficulty if they are not secured. So people will lose their remote and they'll fall down the side of the chair, it falls on the floor or whatever, and then people have to go search for it, again, providing or offering the opportunity for an unsafe situation. In terms of lamps and other lighting in your living room, as you're looking at the light switches, try to take a look at where you have floor lamps, or whether you have desktop lamp or end table lamps or wall sconces. If you have any type of lamps or wall sconces, consider having those, again, hardwired into the wall. What this does is it avoids any type of cords, and cords can be one of the most difficult things for people to get their feet twisted in as they are walking around their room. If you do have cords and you're not able to get rid of these extension cords or the cords from your lamps or whatever, then try to get them flush with the wall. They do also make some type of devices in office supply stores that you can put over the top of cords, and those are often used when cords are in a high traffic area. This again allows you to get them in a safer space to avoid falling over them. And while we're looking at lighting, it's also important to think about the bulbs that you are using. So you will need to make a decision as to whether you want to continue to use the incandescent light bulbs that we've had around for many years, or whether you want to switch to the more energy efficient LED bulbs. The LED bulbs have a lot of benefits that can help people, especially those with vision problems. So for example, you could get frosted bulbs which can help with glare. You can get very white bulbs which really light up a room. You can get a more white room or warm room yellowish tint if that is of better fits you better in terms of your vision kinds of problems. Another thing to look at in terms of your living room is tall furniture such as bookshelves, you again want to do the same thing in this room, and you want to anchor those to the wall. You want to anchor those into the studs. You do not want a bookshelf that you're walking by and for some reason or other, you lose your balance, you grab it with two hands, and now the bookshelf comes down on top of you. Other things in terms of your furniture is look around and make sure that you have at least 2 feet of clear space to walk around all of your furniture. If you have a walker or if you have a wheelchair, obviously those spaces will need to be increased. One of the things that many people also have as a way to prevent blood clots or swelling in their legs is they will use footstools. Footstools can be very good for raising or elevating your feet, but at the same time, they can also be a very big trip hazard. So it might be beneficial to get a recliner that has a footrest that you can move out when you sit down, and then leverage that down and put it down when you get out of your chair. If you have trouble with the lever to put your chair up and down with the footrest, you may want to get one of the chairs that basically lifts you out of your chair, and it has electric mechanism in it such that you can use the, again, remote to get in and out. Also, another thing while you're looking at your furniture, and this is true not only in your living room, but other rooms as well, is trying to buy furniture that has round corners rather than that has square corners. I actually have a colleague who was an older gentleman who was in quite good health. And the day that his accident happened, he actually rode his bicycle 6 or 7 miles down to the state capitol. His neighbor checked in on him every night just to make sure all was well. And he went to answer the doorbell. He somehow tripped or lost his balance. He hit his head on a sharp corner, resulted in a brain hemorrhage, and he never regained consciousness. So it was a very sad situation. Another thing that you'll want to look at in your living room is your TV. If you can afford it, get a smart TV, especially one that could be either activated through your phone or voice activated, or at least has a remote. Again, this allows you to be less having to get up and down and to search for channel changers and those kinds of things. Make great use of virtual assistants. These virtual assistants basically are remotes, they're voice activation, they're touch activation, whatever it is that works for you in terms of your both budget as well as how you are able to manage it is very helpful in terms of technology and that can help you stay again in your own home. Halls and stairways can be another area that we want to take a good look at. So the first thing we'll take a look at is your entrance door. Now there are on the market doorbells that have a video, and that video can be matched basically with your cell phone, so you can see or you can hear through sound who is at your door. It will take a picture of that individual. If you do not recognize them, you do not need to let them in. Similarly, you can have door latches that are that can be opened remotely so that you can let the individual in and out of your apartment without actually having to go to the door. In addition to that, you also may want to have some type of a chain link on your door so that if you do open it, you can talk through the chain link rather than being in a position where you actually open the door and allow the person to have easier access to your entrance. In terms of a hallway, you may want to put handrails on both sides of the hallway. Again, these are very important for you to be able to catch yourself, to be able, should you lose your balance, for you to be able to get up off the floor and to leverage yourself. Lights that are on a hallway should have an on and off switch, both either at both ends of the hallway or at the top and bottom of the stairs. This again allows you to have light on while you navigate that area of your house. You'd also consider putting some type of night lights in hallways as well as on stairwells, because this then will also, you can have those on motion sensors such that when you walk near them, the light comes on and then the light goes off when you leave that area. Another thing to consider, especially on steps, is to consider having low pile carpet with a relatively thin padding. What this allows you to do is basically to feel the step as you are going down it on the ball of your foot. If you have uncarpeted steps, you definitely will want to put non-slip strips on those surfaces. If you have any kind of nails or screws on your stair, you also will want to countersink those deep into the wood so that your socks or your rubber on your shoes do not catch on them. Another precaution is don't put things either at the top or bottom of your stairs that can cause falls. So don't throw your dirty towel or dirty clothing down the steps, because basically when you go down the steps, then those pose a trip hazard. Again, making sure that you have a way to get things up and down those stairs is important, but doing it by just tossing something up or down does not allow for good safety. When you are putting any kind of furniture in a hallway, it's recommended that you allow 36 inches between that piece of furniture and the hall. This allows for ample room, again, for you to maneuver around, especially if you have a wheelchair or a walker. If you use any type of carpet runners, you should, again, either have the non-slip type or staple them down. If you have difficulty manipulating stairs, you may want to consider a chairlift. Again, chairlifts can be expensive, although you can often buy used ones, either through some of the, not the manufacturers, but the retail outlets, or you can get them on Craigslist or eBay. Make sure that you install them according to the manufacturer's requirements. Let's take a look next at your closets. The biggest and most important thing in terms of your closet is having some type of a chair next to the closet so that you can lay your clothing on that chair, but also that you can sit down while you are putting your clothes on. You do not, under any circumstances, want to put your shoes and your socks on while standing up. This is just a prescription for falling, because it's very easy to lose your balance. Another thing that's important in closets is to look at what type of lighting you have. Either putting recessed lighting that shows you easy access to what's in the closet, or installing some type of closet lighting that, again, is easy to turn on. There are new regulations in terms of code about what type of lighting is allowed in closets. Again, this is to make sure that it is safely installed and does not cause a fire. One of the things that can be very important when you are storing your clothing is to consider putting in a double rod as opposed to a single rod. So a double rod will allow you to put clothing that you are not using up on the top rod, with the lower rod being installed about waist height or a little bit lower. This allows you to pull your clothing that you use most frequently off of hangers without having to, again, either stretch or to totally bend down. Other things to consider in your closet is to look at using bins and shelves to store shoes and other items such as undergarments, slips, anything like that. This allows you to avoid any type of bending, which again can result in either loss of balance, dizziness, or sometimes even falls. If you do in fact have to use any type of a step stool, again, use the same precautions that you would use in your kitchen or any other part of your house, which is get one with hand grips and make sure that it has the non-slip, non-skid features so that you can lock it in place. The other thing that happens in closets is that we often have a lot of clutter. I had an older lady tell me one day about something she called our precious stuff. This is stuff that has meaning and purpose to us, but may not have meaning and purpose to other people. So one of the things that is helpful in terms of closets is to look at decluttering. One of the rules that is often used when you are looking at decluttering is putting something in a pile that says keep, make another one that says sell or give away, another one that says donate, and another one that says trash. This allows you then to take a certain amount of time to sort those items that you have in this closet and to make a decision. And it's important to make a decision, and whatever that decision is, to basically abide by it. Picking it up and putting it back in your closet really doesn't help you with your decluttering agenda. Another thing that happens often in closets or other places is that we have lots of paper. So again, purge those papers that are not necessary. Be sure that you use some type of a shredder to shred any sensitive materials that may have such things as your Social Security or your number or your date of birth on them. One of the things you want to also make sure is that if you have stuff that you really think relatives or friends, your children would like to have, ask them if they would like to have it and give them the opportunity to politely refuse. Do not guilt family and friends into taking stuff just because you want to get rid of it. That does not usually end well because the person who is the receiver is feeling bad, and the person who is the giver, while they may feel a sense of satisfaction, usually ends up not very satisfied. Another thing when you're looking about decluttering is get real with yourself. Think about when the last time it was that you used a certain item. If it's been over a certain period of time, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever your standard is, if you haven't used it in that amount of time, consider just getting rid of it. Now, you may have the situation that my husband and I did recently, in the sense that we got rid of a small stand next to a bed because we had all of those stands that we needed. This one was very excess, had been in storage, decided we needed to do some decluttering, attempted to do that, and now one of the side tables on a room has broken, and now we wish we had it back. But that is bygones be bygones, and we'll just figure out a way to get a different one. The other thing to do is look at clothing when you are decluttering. If you have clothing that you can no longer wear because now you are a size 12 and half of the clothes in your closet are a size 8, you probably never are going to go back to being a size 8. So that clothing really needs to just go away. or if you have clothing that no longer has a purpose. So for example, my niece was telling me recently that she helped my sister with this process in her basement. And my sister is 67 years old, and my niece found her maternity clothes. Clearly, my sister no longer has a need or a purpose for her maternity clothes at age 67. Another thing that is often in closets is photos. You could look at paring down those photos by digitalizing them. You can either do it yourself with a scanner, or there are some companies that will offer to do that for a certain amount of money. And that's another way that you can get them either onto flash drives, into the cloud, or onto your computer or your tablet. Be sure, if you're doing that kind of thing, that you make sure you label these photos, because that will help future generations to know what types or who those people are. Now let's turn our attention to your laundry room. So the laundry room, basically, you will need to find a way to take your dirty clothes to the laundry room. You may want to just use a wheeled laundry basket. These are usually easy to push. They usually have a brake on them so that they can be stabilized both when you are putting your dirty clothes in them, as well as when you are taking the dirty clothes out. Again, take a look at where you would normally store your bleach and detergent. You may want to store that similar to items that you store in your kitchen, such that it is basically between your waist and your eyes, so that it is easily accessible when you go to reach for it. If you have small children or individuals who have some level of dementia in your home, you will want to make sure that you lock up both this type of soap as bleach, as well as all of your other chemicals, by putting basically a lock and a key on the door. If and when you have to upgrade your washing machine and your dryer, consider getting front-loading washers and dryers. You will want to use them side by side as opposed to have them stacked on top of each other, because again, you will not be able to reach the dryer very well if they are on top of each other. Or if you don't have the room, if you have previously had stackables, you may want to consider getting a combination washer dryer, as my sister-in-law did, and that gives her 1 unit rather than 2 units. Takes her longer to do her laundry, but she's a single person, and so it takes her, 2 or 3 hours extra to do her laundry, but she is safer. Another thing, when you are purchasing this washer and dryer, look basically at where the lint traps are. Again, you will want to have those easily accessible so that you can easily reach for them rather than having to bend over or get down on your hands and knees to pull them out and change them. Many of us have certain things that we need a drying rack for. We have a special sweater or something that we've washed on delicates, and we really don't want to put it in the dryer. So making sure that whatever or wherever your drying rack is located, that the rod, again, is low enough that it's between your waist and your eyes, so that you can just lay the item over that drying rack. If you're lucky enough to have a laundry room that is large enough with a folding table where you can fold your laundry, that's a great asset. If you don't, again, a wheeled laundry basket makes sense, because then you can put the clothing in there and then wheel it to your dining table or wherever. If you do use a step stool, again, make sure that you have one with all of the safety devices. Other people also store such things as brooms, mops, and vacuum cleaners in their laundry room. Whether you have a broom closet or do it in your laundry room, doesn't really matter. Just again, storing all of those things in a central place, having various kinds of hooks to hang things can also make them easier for you to stay where you want them to stay, such that they don't slip away or slip down, and then you either stumble over them or you have to get down on your hands and knees to pick them up. Let's move now to your garage, assuming that you have a garage. In terms of the garage, if you have an attached garage or a freestanding garage, doesn't really matter. Both have their advantages and both have their disadvantages. In terms of the garage itself, make sure that you have a garage door, an electric garage door with an automatic garage door opener. This can be then hopefully managed either on your smartphone with your remote, or it can be managed with the remotes that come with the garage door opener. The benefit of being able to manage it on your smartphone is if you forget to close the garage, you can look at the app on your phone and it will tell you whether it is open or closed. In terms of the garage door opener and the garage door itself and the lighting, you again will want to have that wall mounted so that it is easy to reach should you need to be able to get access to those controls. Many people have their electrical panel installed in their garage. Again, having that checked on a periodic basis, you know, once every 5 or 10 years is a good thing to make sure that the voltage and the connections are all still good and that it is not a fire hazard. You will want to put a smoke and fire detector in your garage as well as a fire extinguisher. Many fires start in an area where there's trash or combustibles stored, and often we store those things in our garage. In terms of the other thing that happens with garages is we often use them for significant amounts of storage. So storing things on storage racks and on various kinds of tool hangers, having things up off the ground and making sure that they do not fall so you do not have to bend down or that you do not trip over them is extremely important. Shelving, make sure again that if those are items that you need to use frequently, that is within easy access and easy reach. If you do have an attached garage, make sure that the threshold between your door into the house as well as your door into the garage has some type of weather stripping so that you can keep the cold out. Again, putting down rugs or other types of things to keep out the cold just creates an additional trip hazard. Many people store their trash bins in their garage. Some store them outside. Whatever type of trash bin that you have, again, try to get one that is on wheels with some type of handle that is more easily pushed as opposed to something that you have to lift and carry. Lifting and carrying things, again, provides a safety hazard because you lift or pick up things that oftentimes are too heavy. So that brings us kind of to an end to the kinds of things within your house that you should take a look at and start to make those kinds of modifications to help you continue to live in your own home. If you don't do these all at once and you're aware of them as you have to do replacements, then the expense of this is also not as overwhelming, if you will, for some people. A lot of this stuff does revolve around technology, and having a smartphone is an important device if you can afford it. that you should consider investing in. The phone then can be something that you can use for many different purposes, including a lot of safety features within your own house. It also can be linked to your other family members who are also able then to check and make sure that various things are happening. So they can check to see whether or not you went in and out of the house. They could check to see whether or not there's been any movement, whether or not you have opened the refrigerator, whether or not you have taken your medications. So technology really is a way to stay in your own home, and we invite you to embrace it rather than to resist it. We're not going to spend any time in this presentation talking much more about technology. In our aging series, we did do a session on using technology to stay in your own home. It is posted on our YouTube channel. You can access that by basically going to YouTube Colorado Gerontological Society, and then you can find our Aging in Place series, and then you can click on the playlist and identify or listen to the ones that you want to listen to. If you receive this recording, there also the link on this recording in the slides is live, and you could click on that and use that as well. In terms of resources, you can always call us here at the Colorado Gerontological Society. Our telephone numbers are 303-333-3482 is our main number. We also have a toll-free 1-855-293-6911. And we also have a toll-free Spanish line with a counselor who is able to work with you in Spanish. And that number is 1-855-880-4777. As I said at the beginning, the majority of this information can be found in the AARP Home Fit Guide. This link also you can get through by either Googling AARP Home Fit, or if you have the slides, it is linked. The other place that we selected some of this information is from a resource called Universal Design on Aging in Place resources. Other resources and programs and services that you can access through the Society include our volunteer opportunities. You could become a telephone buddy and call an older adult once or twice a week, or you can ask to have an older adult call you once or twice a week just to check on you and make sure that you are doing okay. This is more of a high touch type of service as opposed to a high tech type of service. And we certainly invite you to take advantage of that. We also are doing our holiday basket project, and you can either be a volunteer to deliver baskets to older adults, or you can call and request an application, and we'd be happy to put you on the list to be considered to receive a holiday basket. We are also recruiting volunteers to help us with our affordable housing initiatives. We're looking at ways that we can work with policymakers at the city and state level to be able to combat the issue of the high cost of housing. Other services that we provide is we provide advanced care planning services in both English and Spanish. We also can provide Medicare, Medicaid, and benefits counseling in English and Spanish as well. We offer grants for vision, hearing, and dental services. The grants for vision and hearing are only available in the Metro Denver area. The grants for dental services are available in Metro Denver, as well as on the Western Slope, south of I-70 and west of I-25. Our next session in this Aging in Place series will be on best practices when you need home repairs. And what we will be talking about on January 21st, 2022 at 1 p.m. is that if you have to hire a contractor, you need to hire someone to come into your home for home care services. You need to hire someone to come in to your home to mow your lawn, to help with minor home repairs. That's the kind of thing we'll be talking about and how you can do due diligence. You do need to register in advance at this link, or you can go to our website at senioranswers.org and you should take you to the link for that. After you register, you'll get a confirmation with the email and the Zoom link to join. If you are joining us by phone, the telephone number for the January session is 346-248-7799. The meeting ID is 832-6041-5552, and the passcode is 545579. We hope that you are able to join us in January for the next session on this series. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to working with you in the future.